And welcome to the Howard Eskin Show as you are riding with the king as we're live when we do this. And then obviously you can watch it at any time on the social media platforms. Uh, and you'll be riding with the king on Wednesday night. All right. We got a lot to cover tonight and another great guest, and that would be Ray Didinger. And we assume he's just going to talk about football, but I have some baseball questions to ask him because I know he used to cover all the sports, and we'll talk to him about that. I've got something that I think it's just a mistake by John Middleton as far as the Phillies, and I'll deal with that after we talk to Ray Dittinger. I want to thank our presenter, and I'm going to talk about the biggest fraud. Actually, there's two frauds on the 76ers, but I'll talk about that too. I want to welcome our presenting sponsor, and that would be Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff Stillwell is the man. He can help you in a changing world of financial stuff. You got the QR code there. If you're watching it, you can lock right in right there with the QR code. And he knows stuff. He knows how you should and you can invest your money. Good guy, sharp guy. And there's his number 732 343 0813. 732 343 0813. We got a couple of things we want to take care of. One of which is, and I told you what we're going to talk about during the show. I'm going to give kudos to the Flyers too, but there's some things I got to deal with, which I don't think are good signs for a couple of the teams in Philadelphia. Ray Dittinger, a lot of questions that I'm going to hand over to Ray. But first, I want to tell you about some other important people of this show, and that would be Audi Westchester. Audi Westchester has a great deal when you're talking about 3.99% financing for 72 months on new redesigned Audi models, the A5, the Q5, SQ5, Q5 Sportback, the SQ5 Sportback, and the Q6 e-tron rear wheel drive. Check it out. You'll have fun when you're looking at cars. The inventory is great at Audi Westchester, 1421 Wilmington Pike. Grab a cup of coffee, grab some snacks while you're there. Big offer, 3.99% financing. You're not, I've never, not never, I've not seen that anywhere else. And you can check it all out. Check it out on their website, AudiWestchester.com. All right. Another important person of the program, our important company of the program, proud partners, that would be Piazza Property Pros. 25 years of experience tells you a lot. You want a pool, you want landscaping, you want fencing. They can do it all, and they don't subcontract. I keep on emphasizing that's important. 25 years of experience, get a lot of stuff done. Pool maintenance. Hey, don't procrastinate about pool. You're thinking about it, go ahead and do it. There's so many things they can do for your property to spruce it up and make it look great. And you can have fun when the spring and summer rolls around next year. Give them a call, 610 566 2608. You can schedule a free consultation, and 610 566 2608, or check them out. Uh, I want you to check them out at piazzaoutdoor.com. All right, so here is the best part of the show. It's always my guest, and it's another really good guest. And to talk about, it's not just going to be about football because baseball is a topic right now, and I got a guy that can do both very well, and that would be Ray Dittinger. Ray, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us. Yeah, you're not just a football.
Always fun to be with you, Howard.
Thank you. You know what? You're not just a football guy, although people consider you a football guy. When you wrote for the papers, you covered everything. So, and you still follow everything. So we'll get into the baseball, but first the football. It's an interesting situation. Okay, the trade deadline's done. But everybody talks like when you make a trade, oh, it's the greatest thing in the world. Now they traded nothing for nothing when they traded, what was it, the Jets to get the wide receiver? I don't even know what the, yeah, okay. So nothing. When you're trading 6th and 7th round picks, not a big deal. But the last trade, Jalen Phillips, when you give up a 3rd round pick, that's a lot. In the world of the NFL, that is a lot, is it not?
It is. It is. Yeah, that's not a small thing. I think some people kind of just they look at draft picks unless they're number one. It's like, oh, they're all the same, and they're not. A 3rd round pick has real value, but Phillips has been a good player. So you weren't going to get him for a 6 or 7. I mean, that 3rd round pick is about the price I would have expected, and he has been a good player, but obviously he's available for a reason, and it's Miami Dolphins aren't going anywhere, so they're willing to move some people. And he's had injury issues, and those are the kind of guys that are available at the trade deadline. Sometimes you get lucky and a guy comes in and really contributes. Other times, and the Eagles have had this happen, that made a deal for a guy who comes in and contributes nothing. We won't know until he gets on the field.
You give up a 3rd round pick, but I think he's had injuries the last 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. He's had injury problems the last 2 years. But the Eagles, obviously, it's almost like they're swinging for just like the Phillies, actually. They're swinging for they're swinging for the fences for this year. Now, they had a lot of draft picks, and you can afford to give those up. But it looks like what they're trying to do is, just go all in.
Right.
In a year, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of real strong teams. There's good teams. Is that the impression that you get from Howie Roseman and the Eagles?
Yes, I very much so. I mean, they were going to be aggressive anyway, but the fact is, I mean, here we are. I mean, this deep in the season, I mean, it's practically Thanksgiving now. And Howard, it is wide open in the NFL. I mean, you can't normally by now, there's that sort of sorting out process where normally by this point in the season, a couple teams have started to rise above and they become like the teams. Like this time last year, you kind of knew that it was going to be the Eagles and the Chiefs. I mean, you just knew where this thing was headed. Right now, man, you could make a case for 7, 8 different teams. I mean, they all feel like they got a shot, and the Eagles are right there. So, yeah, they felt like they have a really good chance to get back there, but they needed to shore up a couple of things. They needed to get better cornerback play opposite Quinyon Mitchell, which they did, and they needed to improve their pass rush. And, they brought in the guys that they feel can do that, and they have at various points in their career, but they just had problems with injuries. And Phillips is the most recent. But the thing with Phillips is, and why I think Michael Carter, people kind of, okay. Alexander, okay. People thought it doesn't hurt to bring in a couple more defensive backs because we certainly need help there. But the reason I think that Phillips excites people is he has been a real good player. He was a terrific player in college, but he's had a lot of injuries. But the best season of his career, if you look back on it, was the year that he played for Vic Fangio in Miami. He played his best football under this defensive coordinator. So I think their feeling is, and I'm sure Vic had a lot of say in making his deal. I'm sure Vic is one of the guys in there. He certainly signed off on it, and probably if Vic didn't, and he coached Phillips, so if he didn't like him, I mean, he would have told Howie, no, don't bother. Okay, I don't want to. I coached this guy once. I don't want to feel like coaching him again. But the fact that the Eagles went after him this aggressively tells you that Fangio signed off on it. He feels good about it. And if you look at the year that he played under Vic, I mean, that was a year he had 6.5 sacks and, was a borderline Pro Bowl kind of player. So that's the kind of production you're hoping to get.
When you make trades, baseball, you just plug a guy in.
Right.
Basketball, it's not hard. You plug a guy in. Hockey might be a little more difficult, but in football, it seems like there's more involved. How difficult, in your opinion, is it to get many new players when you're basically midway through the season?
It's more difficult than the other sports because there's more system involved. There's more learning involved. Yeah, you're right about that. But even within that, some positions and some areas of the team are a little bit easier than others. And Defensive backs to me that's really hard to bring a defensive back in and plug him in a secondary and think it's
Mm.
going to be smooth because there's all you have to do is just miss one coverage, miss one assignment, make one mistake, and it's 6 points. I mean, that's the kind of a mistake will kill you in the secondary, and mental mistakes will absolutely kill you in the secondary. So you bring in a couple of new defensive backs. Yeah, you're going to do your best to get them up to speed, but there is a greater risk there of mental mistake. A pass rusher, less so. You can simplify things, especially since Phillips has already played under Vic Fangio. He kind of knows his system. And I think he can come in and you can feel more comfortable getting him on the field. I think defensive backs, that's a little more problematic.
Okay, so when you look at this, and it's kind of interesting, Brandon Graham comes back, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's all excited. It's BG. I love the guy. He's a great guy, but he left on top last year and he had surgery after the season. He was a Super Bowl champion. He was everything. And he didn't play that many snaps last year. Now, I don't know because Nolan Smith will be coming back soon. I don't know if it's this week or the following week. You got Phillips, kind of the same kind of position and player. I don't know how Brandon Graham is going to get many snaps, maybe not even as many as he got last year. And I think he averaged, I think it was like 10 to 13 snaps last year a game. How do you see Brandon Graham fitting into this situation now?
That's probably about it. I think he played 12 snaps in the Super Bowl. And that's probably, I don't think they're going to ask him to do more than that.
I wonder if he's even going to do that many.
I don't know. I don't know. I will say this: that even though he was clearly on a pitch count last year, he when he played really well. In fact, the last game that he played, the game where he got hurt, the game in Los Angeles, he played great. I mean, he was all over the field. He had a couple of sacks. He was all over the quarterback. I mean, that was probably his best game of the year. Was that year, and that was when he suffered the torn tricep, and then he was out. But I mean, he certainly played well that night. And I think that they're not asking him to come in and save the season by any means. But the feeling is, and this is across the board in the National Football League, is you cannot have too many pass rushers. I mean, that's
Okay.
you got to have those guys, and you got to keep them fresh, and you got to have fresh pass rushers in the fourth quarter if you're going to win, and especially when you're where the Eagles are, and you look at coming out of the break. It's nice to have the bye, but you're coming out of the break, and the first three weeks, you got Jordan Love, Jared Goff, and Dak Prescott. Bing, 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 and you got to start off by getting pressure on those guys, or they can light you up. And I think that's it. The Eagles really know that the path is wide open for them to get back to a Super Bowl. It really is there for them. But the two areas that they needed to improve was they needed to get better quarterback play. We'll see if these guys can help. And they definitely needed to get better rush off the edges. They're getting decent pressure inside when Carter's healthy. Is a really good interior pass rusher. But the problem was they didn't have guys on the edges that could win the one-on-ones like they had last year. And that's what they're hoping they can get out of Phillips and maybe on a limited basis, BG.
Okay, you talked about the other teams. The fans get angry at me, these idiots, when I said they were lucky against the Rams. They were lucky against the Rams. They got a lead, and the defense let them come right down, didn't want to let them come down the field, set up for a field goal, which in most, I don't think the kicker had the right trajectory on the kick. But whatever the case may be, and then the playoff game, some people, I forget who I had on as a guest, said the Rams outplayed them. What was it, in the playoffs last year? And the Eagles won the game. So the Rams really play well against the Eagles. Now, who knows whether they'll play them in the playoffs, but they have the tiebreaker if it comes down to that because they had won that game. They get Detroit at home, which
Right.
is an advantage too. So that helps a little
But on a
bit.
short week.
What's that?
You got Detroit coming here, which is a factor, but you got them on a short week. You got Detroit coming off the Monday night game.
Yeah, I think players are used to that stuff now. Well, wait a minute. Detroit's coming off the money, and the
No,
Eagles.
the Eagles
The
are.
Eagles are coming off the Monday night
Right.
game. I don't know the players are, but whatever. But they still have Detroit and Philadelphia. So when you look at the other teams, who do you think are the most dangerous teams? Let's say the Eagles had to play one of these teams in the playoffs.
Mhm.
Who would you think is the most dangerous?
When I look at the teams on paper, okay,
Yeah.
start there. I honestly think the Rams might be the best team, but
Yes.
it seems like the Eagles have their number, and sometimes they do. I mean, sometimes that's just the truth. Uh,
Right.
but I look at the personnel on the two teams, and I look at the Rams. The Rams are really good,
Yes, they
and
are. And Stafford's playing great.
Matthew Stafford's maybe having his best year, which
Yep.
I don't think anybody expected because he practically had no preseason. He
Hmm.
didn't. Not only did he not play in the games, but he hardly practiced because his back was so bad. And a lot of people were writing him off, and he's come out and he has played terrific football. He really, really has. So if you were just to ask me who's the best of those teams out there, I would tell you I think it's the Rams, but the Eagles just seem to be able to beat the Rams. So now, if you're looking at the other teams, um, I know it's weird because I still can't understand how in the world Green Bay lost at home to Carolina.
Oh, I don't know either.
I don't know how that happened. But putting that game aside, the Packers are very good. The Packers are very good. They Up to this point this year, they're not running the ball as well as I thought they would. Jacobs isn't having anywhere near the year he had last year.
Hmm.
But Love is really coming on. I mean, he's a quarterback with a lot of talent. He throws a sweet deep ball, and when he's hot, man, he can be really rough. And their defense is real fast and real physical. I think this is going to be a real tough game for the Eagles coming out. I really do. I mean, going to Lambeau and catching Green Bay coming off that bad performance,
Yep.
to play them at home on a Monday night. I think this is going to be a real tough game for the Eagles. I'm not saying they're going to lose it, but I think this is going to be a real tough game for the Eagles.
When I looked at losses at the beginning of the year, I looked at Green Bay, but they're as a loss. They're coming off that bad game, but they played I think the game before they played really well. Um, so they are a good team. They are at home. It's going to be cold, which they're used to. I mean, football players are used to it, but the Eagles probably be the first game they played in cold weather. I don't know if that makes any difference for a football player, but all right, I'm going to give you two teams that I think could be real dangerous for the Eagles if they played them in the playoffs. One would be Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You know, they had a few turnovers in that game that they beat Tampa, and then Tampa did march down the field, and that was a mistake by obviously. And I like Baker Mayfield. I think that's a real dangerous game because Todd Bowles does a great job against the Eagles. And the other team, which all of a sudden we just ignore, and they made a trade to help their offense, Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Darnold is playing so well. It's mind. I guess that's why he was drafted so high.
Yeah.
How much do you worry about Seattle? They're really playing well. How much do you worry about Seattle?
Very much. Very much. Darnold had a great year last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Darnold had a great regular season last year.
Right.
And then the question, because everybody knew he had talent. My God, anybody that saw him play at SC knew that he did. That's why he got drafted so high. But went to New York, got off to a bad start. They buried him. He lost his confidence.
Yeah.
It's a classic case of a guy who needed a change of scenery.
Yeah.
So he goes to Minnesota, and he played really good all last season. And then he got in the postseason and just fell apart. So now the question is, okay, here he is in another location, having another great regular season, but can you trust him in the postseason? Or is he going to get to the postseason and do what he did last year? That would be the concern. The team right now is playing very well. Defensively, they're playing really well. They're a good-looking team, but do you trust Sam Darnold in the postseason? On the other side of it, talking about the other team you were talking about, Baker Mayfield is really good in big games.
Yep.
When you're talking about playing in the postseason and winning games in the postseason, you really kind of start at the quarterback to win you a big game. Under that, trust Baker Mayfield before I would trust Darnold. And look, I fully respect what Darnold is doing. He's putting up amazing numbers, and he's playing really good week after week. But in a postseason, in a big spot, who would you trust, Darnold or Mayfield? I would trust Baker Mayfield first.
Yeah, I tell you, I love the guy. I love his moxie. I love everything about him. I still remember when he won. Didn't he win the Maxwell Club Award for the College Player of the Year?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyone the Heisman.
and he won the Heisman that year too. So all right. So you look at those two teams. I look at if the Eagles play them in the playoffs, that could be really a tough situation for them. All right. So now,
You would hope you're playing them here.
well,
You would
yeah. I mean,
you would hope you're
Seattle
playing
is
them
not a gimme. Tampa, they would play here. They've already beaten them, so the
right.
tiebreaker would come down, and Tampa's going to win that division. I don't think. I don't have a question with that. All right. So now you look at those teams. The other thing, and I got to ask you, and you may understand it, and I don't understand it that much. The quarterback rating is such bullshit. It really is. And people have thought, oh, he had a perfect Jalen Hurts, had a perfect quarterback rating. I don't care. You just win the games. It's all about winning games. I don't care about ratings. So I looked at Sam Darnold. I'm just curious now because I look at quarterback ratings. Sam Darnold started the game out, his last game, 16 for 16. He only had 3 incompletions, 4 touchdown passes, no interceptions. His quarterback rating was in the 120s, and Jalen Hurts was like whatever the perfect number is, 152 or 158. Like, what the
153.
hell is the difference? I mean, they both had 4 touch. The Jalen Hurts tush pushed for 1 or 2 touchdowns. Does that change the quarterback? It's such a bogus. I think it's a bogus number. Your thoughts on the quarterback rating?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, everybody puts a tremendous amount of stock in it, and they quote those numbers as if they're gospel. But I can't explain them. I mean, there's so many of these little, almost analytic kinds of facts that are woven in there, and then they feed it into a computer, and it spits out a number, and that's supposed to tell you how good this guy is compared to the other guys at his position. All you need to know about quarterback efficiency rating is if you go on the all-time list and you look up Terry Bradshaw is like 78th or something, I mean, and Joe Montana is behind Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean,
my gosh.
Yeah. So if you look at all of those things, I mean, you take those numbers and you can just crumple them up and put them in a little baggie and just drop them in the trash, okay? Because what you said is, to me, 100% truth. And when I was at NFL Films, I did an interview with Terry Bradshaw about this very thing.
Okay.
And Bradshaw said, I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't care about the yards. I don't care about the yards per attempt. All I care about as a quarterback is 2 things. Do we score points and do we win games?
Win games.
If we do that, I've done my job. And you know what? I mean, it sounds like you're oversimplifying, but when you get right down to it, you're not. That is what a quarterback's expected to do.
And when you look at these people with jail, I say these fans are just. I don't love their passion because they go overboard. Okay, so they're numbskulls. They worry about is he going to win the MVP? I don't really care as long as they win games. Winning games is the bottom line. Okay. They care about where he ranks in the quarterbacks in the NFL, always in the top 5. Doesn't matter. Just win games. I don't care where people rank him.
Right.
When you look at Jalen Hurts, do you really care about all that other nonsense? No. I call it nonsense.
No, I don't. Because for a couple of things. Number one, first and foremost, it is nonsense. Okay, let's just start with that. That stuff, those kinds of arguments are nonsensical. The other part of it is because of the kind of player Jalen Hurts is, and because of the kind of offense the Eagles run, you can't measure him against other guys because he's almost playing not a totally different game, but a very different game than the other guys. People argue, can he win the MVP? No, because the MVP is going to come down to the voters so often they just make it a numbers award.
Yeah.
And the way this team plays, even if they play well, even if they play the way they're supposed to play, he's not going to throw for a ton of yards. Last year they're 14-3, and on a typical week he's throwing for 160, 170. Right. And so he's never going to put up the 5,000 yard sort of numbers that win MVPs. But so what? I mean, the only thing that I guess I'm very much like you in this regard. When it's all said and done and all the smoke clears and all that stuff, the only thing that matters is who won, you know? And if your quarterback won you a Super Bowl, then he did exactly what you drafted him and paid him to do.
I
That's
know.
I don't want to oversimplify it, but I mean that is really what it comes down to.
There's no question that's what it comes down to. And then the other thing is, I don't know if it figures into it. Rushing touchdowns for a quarterback, does that figure into your quarterback rating? If so, the tush push it's a joke anyway. It really, it's not football. Hey, listen, I know that people love it and they do it better than anybody else. But I think, and I don't know how you feel about it. I think they're going to change that at the end of the season, not because the Eagles do it, because it's impossible to officiate a penalty,
Right.
and you can see that because unless you have replays on those plays, and then it opens up another can of worms. Yeah, they false start probably half the time, but it's so minute, but it's still a false start.
Mhm.
Do you think that play? First of all, do you like the play? I actually have three questions. Does that figure into the quarterback rating, that rushing touchdown, which
No.
is a farce? Oh, it doesn't? Okay. Do you like the play, and do you think it'll be around next year?
I will answer the last part of it first. I can almost guarantee you it will not survive the challenge this offseason because there's a tremendous headwind against it now.
Yeah.
It barely survived last year.
Yeah.
It survived by two
Two
votes.
votes, right. Yeah.
And most people didn't think it would survive then. It did by two votes.
Okay.
But the thing is, the people who are against it, and the irony, the ultimate irony about this whole thing is the team that is leading the charge against it is the Green Bay Packers.
Right.
I mean, they're the ones that are sort of mobilizing everybody to come out and vote against it. And what I think is ironic about it is the most famous quarterback sneak in the history of the world was run by the Green Bay Packers. You know, Bart Starr in the ice.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
That's the most famous quarterback sneak in history. And by the way, there was a tush push involved in that. Chuck Mersine is pushing Bart Starr if you look at it again. But be that as it may, I find it very ironic that the team that ran the most successful and most historic quarterback sneak in history is the one that's trying to get this play out of the book. But the argument they tried to make last year, and you know this, was the injury factor, that it's an unnecessary physical risk to the players. That was the argument that they brought before the committee, just to make it look like it wasn't strictly, we want to get rid of it because the Eagles are good at it. They had to have a better and more legitimate argument. So they based it on the injury factor. And the Eagles just presented the facts that, show us the guys that have been hurt doing it. No, they aren't there. Okay, so that argument fell apart on its face. So they had to come up with another argument. This year, the argument will be exactly what you just said, that it's an impossible play to officiate. Now, that one, I think will succeed. And they'll show some shots. And there was a couple games this year where they showed ground action where you saw the Eagles did false start on it, but it didn't get called because the official didn't see it. Yep. They have that visual evidence now. They will also throw in the play from the Eagles' last game when Jalen Hurts clearly fumbles on that play.
Oh, no question.
But that gets overturned because, what's forward progress? Did the whistle blow? Again, another argument. It's an impossible play to officiate. Now that argument, I think will win for them, and I think it'll get overturned. And plus, the league office hates it. The league office wants to be done with it. So you're going to have all of these, Roger Goodell and all of his people are going to be twisting the arms of the owners that are kind of straddling the fence here. And by the time these guys meet in the owners' meetings in the winter, I'm absolutely sure tush push will be history.
I don't think it's football when you have other players pushing the ball carrier from behind. I mean, it should be you're blocking up front. It should be obviously the strength, and that comes down to it, the physicality of a player who runs the ball. But when you have players pushing them, it's just I don't. Hey, listen, it works, but I don't like it. To me, it's a boring play, and it's not football.
Yeah. Well, one thing about it is it's absolutely a weapon for the Eagles.
No question.
It allows them to convert plays that other teams wouldn't even attempt. and it gives them a psychological advantage. It really does. Teams that play against them have to deal with the thought of them being able to convert a play that they don't trust themselves.
Yeah.
And that's a big factor. And so I know Eagles fans love it. I understand why they love it, but enjoy it while you can, because I do not think it'll survive this offseason.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a broad question about the Eagles. And all I'm going to say is A.J. Brown. Your thoughts on all this stuff that's going on with him and the team?
I think that what has made the A.J. Brown thing bigger than big and has taken it down a very negative path is because most of the fans that I've talked to about it and most of the chatter that I hear tells me that people are viewing the whole A.J. Brown story through the prism of Terrell Owens. I mean, people kind of think because they play the same position, because they're very much the same kind of player when you get right down to it. I mean, A.J. Brown and Terrell Owens are very similar players. There's a lot of similarity there. So they're seeing this whole thing through the prism of the Terrell Owens experiments. And it's not really so. I mean, it's really apples and oranges here. Terrell Owens had his own issues, and he was dealing with his was just purely about contract and money. A.J. Brown's a whole different story. And I think that it would be better for is this going to rip the team apart? No. Is this going to keep the team from winning? No. Would they be better off if they didn't have to deal with it? Yeah. I mean, it would be great if Nick Sirianni could go to AJ and say, hey, listen, if you got some issues, and apparently you got some issues, bring them to me, okay? Just come to my office. I'll close the door. We'll talk about it. And I guarantee you we can kind of work this thing out. We can. But you know, on social media all day, feeding the talk radio, firing up the fans, your teammates are having to answer questions about you during the week that they would rather not have to answer. Enough. It's a distraction, okay? So, look, if you got some problems, fine. We can talk about it, and I think we can work it out. But just cut out the other stuff. If they could do that, then I think everything would be fine. But the fact is, we know that AJ that ain't how he rolls. I mean, he's one of these guys that just lives on social media. So every thought that he has is out there. And then once it's out there, that's all anybody wants to talk about.
But you know what? If you had a coach,
it's going to, in the bigger picture, do I think this is going to keep this? Is it going to tear this team down, or is it going to keep it from going as far as it can go? No. Is it annoying? Yeah, but I don't think it's going to get in the way of this team if they can play their game, going back and maybe winning another Super Bowl.
If you had the coaches nowadays cater to players. If you had a coach, you know, from 15 years ago, if you had even Vermeil, as soft as, and it, you know, he wouldn't allow that stuff. Oh, no. I had Bruce Arians on last week. He told me he wouldn't allow that stuff. You know, you just say, hey, AJ, no more social media. Now, you're not allowed to do that. I would say all it's going to do is create problems for you, which in essence creates problems for me, and in essence creates problems for the team. Number one, don't press send, and no more social media. I mean, that's a great advice. I've heard that. Just don't press send. It's just, but the coach, they won't say anything to him. Hey, listen, you shouldn't be on social media. Well, it's enough already. It's enough. Hey, listen, he's a really, really good wide receiver. Although I think Devontae Smith is a better wide receiver, not by much. A little faster. He takes a hit as well as anybody.
Yep.
He's good on the one-on-one balls, just like A.J. Brown. And he just plays the game and doesn't care whether he gets one pass or 6 receptions or targets or whatever. Just plays the game. I think they're both really, really good.
Yep.
But I think Devontae Smith is just a tad better.
Yeah, I had a discussion with a guy around the league. We were talking about various player issues and team issues. And he asked me, he was arguing, he said he thought that we were discussing best wide receiver pairings. And we were discussing CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens.
Yep.
We were discussing Lamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Yep.
and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And who did I think had the best pair? And I argued for Brown and Smith. I really did. And the other guys, they're great. There's no question about it. But I thought Brown and Smith are just outstanding. Brown is a physical mismatch down the field in terms of taking the ball away from defenders. And Devontae Smith runs, in my view, he runs the best routes of any outside receiver.
Yep.
His route running it's like a textbook. I mean, if you wanted to put together a textbook and teach young receivers how to run routes,
Mm-hmm.
take the video of Devontae Smith from any game, and just put it on a loop, and just have young receivers study exactly how to set up defenders, how to break things at the top of the route, when to come back to the ball, how to protect the ball when it's there, be able to adjust to a ball that's behind you. Devontae Smith is maybe technically the best receiver I think playing football right now, and his pairing with Brown is dynamic. It really is. Now those other guys are great, but if you ask me who's the best pair, and this other guy, he was accusing me of being a Philadelphia partisan. Oh, you only no, I'm trying to be fair, but I honestly feel that these two guys are the best. And you make the case, could Smith be better than Brown? Yeah, maybe. But the fact of the matter is the two of them working together they are about as good as it gets.
All right. And I try to look at what if you switch teams? Would Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown be as good with Cincinnati, even assuming Joe Burrow was playing,
Right.
who is a great quarterback? And I forget about the Cowboys. I know they're really good, but there's something about the Cowboys. I just don't think they get too much hype. But if you switch teams, I think Chase and Higgins would be just as good, if not better, than Brown and Devontae Smith if they were with the Eagles, because they're a better team. Quarterback gets protection. Now the quarterback with Cincinnati he's better. All right, it's no secret he's a better quarterback, but he's hurt. I don't know. I kind of look at it like that, but they're really good. I just think Devontae Smith is really, really good. All right.
Oh, he is. No, there's no question about it. There's no question about it. It's very hard. It's very hard for a wide receiver to win the Heisman. Not that the Heisman is necessarily a projector to the NFL. We've seen a lot of Heisman guys fall short.
Yeah.
But to give you an idea of just how remarkable and special Devontae Smith is, I mean, just look at how few wide receivers have ever won the Heisman. Just doesn't happen, and he won it, in a walk. I mean, it really wasn't even close. I mean, he's really great. I mean, the Eagles have a long history of having Heisman winners, and very few of them have panned out here. But this guy, he's the real thing.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, it's still a long season. It's not a gimme, although the people in Philadelphia think it's a gimme. The Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. It's still hard. They've been still pretty lucky with their injury situation compared to some of these other teams. And not that, injuries, probably luck more than anything else. But they're good.
I would correct you on one thing. They have not had any real catastrophic injuries.
Right.
But they have had significant injury along the offensive line that guys have continued to play through, but has absolutely affected their performance. You look at this offensive line this year compared to where it was last year, the level at which they were playing. And you've only got really one change, and you've got Steen at right guard for Becton, which is kind of almost a wash. But the other four guys aren't playing as well. And it's, and it's because they've been playing through all kinds of physical stuff all year. And they're, it's a simple fact. I mean, they're just not as dominant as they were last year. Now, you saw some evidence of the fact that they could get there in the last Giants game. The question is, can they roll that forward for the second half of the year? If they want to get back to the Super Bowl and win it, which everybody's talking about, they're going to kind of have to do that, get that offensive line back to playing the way it did last season.
Right. And Cam Jurgens will be interesting. It looks like he's just not as good. And I don't know if it's the injury in the offseason. I don't know what it is. All right. I'm going to switch gears because I do want to touch on baseball.
Okay.
All right. The two teams in the World Series, I think, were the best teams in the World Series in baseball. Toronto, I think Toronto was better than the Blue Jays are better than the Dodgers, And they made a fundamental mistake, which is not their team. And it was pointed up to me in the ninth inning with the bases loaded. The man on third, and they had kind of like a shift. They had the third baseman playing off the bag, Toronto, and the runner on third. The Dodgers had the third baseman playing off the bag. You take the lead as much as the third baseman's off the bag. There was a runner out at the plate in the ninth inning that would have won the game, but he didn't take the lead based on how far the third baseman was off. And the second, I think it was the second baseman, threw was a forced play at the plate. But other than that, they're the two best teams in baseball. I don't want to get hung up on that. The Philly, because they make contact for the most part, they know how to play the game, and it's not an analytic based hit home runs, strikeouts don't matter, all that nonsense. Put the ball in play. The Phillies, they don't have a team that does that.
Right.
How far away, how tough, the first question is, how tough do you think it is for the Phillies to change who they are to be the kind of team that you need to be to get to the World Series?
I don't think you can with this lineup. I mean, this, how many times do we have to see it? I mean, this is what they are. And, you know, it will, and this is kind of the situation that painted, that's the corner that painted themselves into with this roster is there are so many bad teams in baseball.
Oh, they're terrible.
And there's so much bad pitching in baseball that you can have this kind of lineup and, you know, knock balls out of the park and win your 92, 95 games and get to the postseason. Fine, if that's really what your goal is. But when you get into the postseason and you're in with the best teams and you're seeing the best pitching, then that doesn't work for you. And we've seen this now with this team year after year after year. They have the same kind of regular season and then they have the same kind of postseason. And with the contracts they have and the way this roster is constructed, Howard, I don't know how they get out of it. I mean, they've kind of created this thing, and now they're almost trapped in it. That look, if you just want to win your 90 and fill the stadium and get to the postseason, if that's really all you're shooting for, okay, I think you got that. We can all agree on that. But if the idea is winning the World Series, then I don't think you're going to be able to do that. But I don't know how they begin dialing it back with this roster right now, because contractually they're locked into some deals that I don't know there's any getting out of them, even if they wanted to.
You know, Alec Boehm is under control for one more year, and they're going to try to trade him again. I don't know that you're going to get enough for him. If there's a man on third with less than 2 outs, the player on that team that I want at the plate is Alec Boehm because he makes contact.
He'll put the bat on the ball. He will.
And they're going to get rid of him. And they're going to try to get rid of him. That's, you know, I don't think that's a secret. They're going to try to get rid of him again. And I don't know what they're going to do. It's just, you're right about the contracts. I don't like the lineup. Bryce Harper, regardless of, I'll do whatever they want. He's not going back to right field, even if Pete Alonso would sign here, which would be an improvement for this team to put Alonso at first and Harper in right, because it kind of helped their outfield situation. I think Castellanos is gone. He's not a bad number by the numbers of player, but he obviously creates some issues. But I agree with you. I just don't think this team can fix what they have. And to go out and sign somebody, they're so far over the luxury tax now. John Middleton said he would do it, but the other owners involved too. And, I don't know that they just want to give up their money like John Middleton does. It's really,
and every year you're getting older.
Yep.
I hate to say this, I hate to think this, but I have this feeling that their time has passed. That it was there for them a couple of years ago, and they missed that opportunity. And now I think it's gone. And they can hang on to what they've got and continue to be what they are. But I think their opportunity, their best chance to win the whole thing, and I think they had that shot. They missed it, and now it's gone. And I don't know. You hate to think that, okay, well, at some point we're just going to have to tear the whole thing down and start over. And I'm not prepared to say that. But my feeling is I think they had their chance and it's gone. And now they're kind of stuck being what they are, which is which is okay. And for some people, good, maybe good enough. But if the idea is to actually win a World Series with this team, I think they may have missed. They may have swung and missed.
I actually agree with you. This core is, I don't think can win a World Series because they're not going to be able to trade Harper. Not that they would. I don't think they're going to be able to trade Turner because of the years left on the contract. And I don't think they would. And then what else do you have? You can talk about the minor leaguers. I don't know that Andrew Painter is going to be as good. Somebody told me that they changed his motion and he's not as good a pitcher. I hope they didn't screw him up again. Because he didn't have the kind of year that you thought he should have in
Jesus,
the minor leagues.
5 ERA.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that in spring training, Dave Dombrowski's saying he's probably going to be here in July and be in the rotation. And he was pitching so bad you couldn't even consider it.
It's there, and they got some. I mean, Crawford's a good player. He'll be up. People look at Aiden Miller. I understand he might not be up till the middle of the season. That's, I guess, how they can replace Bohm. But outside of that, I just don't know that they have enough. If you're going to put Rojas back in the outfield, another 200 hitter, I'd stop. It's just. But we agree. I think this core missed their opportunity.
Let me ask you this. Since you're talking about center field, where do you stand with Bader and what he means to the team, how good a player you think he is, and what's the realistic expectation that they can bring him? Because I really like the guy. I mean, when he got here, I kind of knew who he was. But honestly, when I got to see him play, I thought, damn, this guy's better than I thought he was. And I think he's a real fit for this team. But given your money situation and contractually where he is right now, I don't know if they can keep him. But, I think you saw once he got here and began playing that when he was in the lineup, they were a better team.
You know what? The first thing I look at is, all right, what has the guy done before? He's been with 5 or 6 teams. So you wonder about him. Somebody had some questions that I heard from somebody that, well, maybe he's not who you think he is, but he's going to get a minimum of $15 million a year for at least 3 years.
Right.
So, but they may have to keep him because they don't have enough. And Harper's not going back to the outfield, and I think they're going to eat a lot of the money of Castellanos to move him because they tried to trade him last year and they couldn't trade him. So I don't know what they do, but I think they have to keep Bader. He's okay. He's okay. He's a good defender. Better than anything else they can put out in center field. I'm done with Brandon Marsh. I'm done with all that nonsense. It's not. Well, I'm done. It just, and he's not that. He's a 4th or 5th outfielder on most good teams. That's what he is. But whatever. We agree on that. Actually, we agree that the Phillies have missed. Have missed.
The season that the Dodgers were setting up their pitching to get to Marsh. They were pitching around the other guys to get to Marsh. So, it was as obvious as the nose on your face. So, come on. I think you've gone as far as you can with him. You need a better answer. What I saw Bader, I thought he could be. But, if you're talking about that kind of money, I don't know.
I don't know.
Could they do it? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going to, after we're done, and to conclude the show, I'm going to mention something that's happened with John Middleton that is absolutely a mistake. But I'm going to save that, and I have people hang in there, and I'll tell you about it after I say it. But anyway, I want to talk about a couple of things. You do so many things. By the way, Ray, how's retirement?
Let me call my wife in here, and you can ask her that question. It hasn't exactly gone the way we thought. Okay?
You're doing more now than you did before. I'm sorry. I just had to ask that question, how retirement is. It's just, whatever. The going away thing, the whole, whatever. But okay.
Well, you know what really changed everything, Howard? It really was my plan in 2022 to retire. That really was the grand strategy. But who knew the Eagles were going to go to like a Super Bowl every year? If the Eagles were kind of where the Giants and the Jets are right now, I would be retired.
Oh, okay.
There wouldn't be anything to talk about. But the fact is, the Eagles have done with what they've done. My phone has not stopped ringing, and that's just the truth of it.
All right. So you've got, because of that, you have another version, an updated version of the Eagles Encyclopedia.
I have
You
one
have
right
it
here.
there. Okay. And so that is available for people. The easiest way, I guess, is Amazon, but it
Easiest way
is,
to order through Amazon, and
yeah.
you can get it in 2 days.
Okay. And probably get it the next day. If you have Amazon Prime, you can
Right.
probably get it the next day. And it's available if you can find a bookstore. It's available in bookstores now too, correct?
Yes, yes, that is true. And I will be this weekend, again, getting back to my non retirement. This weekend, on Saturday afternoon, I will be at the Barnes and Noble in Exton signing books. And then on next Sunday, and remember, the Eagles are playing Monday night, so your Sunday is free.
Okay.
Sunday, I will be at the Barnes and Noble in Neshaminy signing copies of Eagles Encyclopedia. So if you're free either of those 2 days, come out and see me.
Okay. And you have another event coming up on December 3rd, which is
Correct.
it's less than a month. I got to check the dates. The dates is kind of I
Yes.
should remember election day was November 4th, so I should
Yes.
remember it.
Yes.
Okay, December 3rd. Tell people what the event is.
December 3rd is Glenn Macnow, Joe Conklin, and I put together a year ago a show that we called The Greatest Moments in Philadelphia Sports History. And it's sort of taking all the greatest moments in Philadelphia sports history and combining them all into one night and one show in one night. And it's really a blast. I mean, we put it together and we did it first time at the Ardmore Music Hall and just rocked the house. And so we wound up doing it at a couple of other places, and people have really loved it. And so on December the 3rd, we're going to do it again at the Scottish Rite Auditorium in Collingswood, New Jersey, which is a beautiful, mammoth 1,000 seat auditorium in Collingswood, New Jersey, where they do a lot of rock acts and stuff.
Mhm.
Well, they're bringing us in to do our greatest moments in Philadelphia sports show, December 3rd. And it's a lot of fun. We talk about the biggest moments. We lay out what we thought the biggest moments were. We give a lot of backstory and things that people might not know about those events. And then Joe Conklin, because of Joe being who Joe is, like every time we invoke a Phillies moment, he can be both Whitey and Harry. Okay. And if we're talking about an Eagles moment, he can be both Mike Quick and Merle Reese. I mean,
Right.
when you have Joe there, he brings the whole library of the soundtrack
Right.
of Philadelphia sports with
I
him.
got you.
So that's the show, and it's been really, really successful, and we've really enjoyed it. And this is the first time we've actually gone to South Jersey, so we're excited about it. So December 3rd at the Scottish Rite Auditorium in Collingswood, New Jersey. Come out and enjoy, again, the greatest moments in Philadelphia sports history.
All right, Ray, and thank you. We covered a lot of things today, which is
Yes,
great.
we did.
I love these things because it's a conversation. This is not an interview. We're just shooting the you know what, and just
Exactly.
just
We'll get
look.
to the Union next time.
Okay. All right, Ray. Good luck with the book.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure you won't need any luck, and have fun on December 3rd.
Thank you, Howard. Always a pleasure.
All right, Ray Didinger. Thanks, Ray. Thanks. All right, take care. Ray Didinger. We did cover a lot of things, a lot of things with the Eagles, a lot of things with the NFL, and a lot of things. And there's something I'm going to tell you about the Phillies, which I think John Middleton's making, that I found out about, and John Middleton's making a mistake. But it's just he's too involved. But we'll get into that. First of all, I want to thank again our presenting sponsor, and that would be Stillwell Financial Advisors. In the world of changing economics and all those different things that go on with investing your money, Jeff Stillwell can do the job for you. Give him a call. Good guy, regular guy, and he knows his stuff. 732-343-0813. Also, Audi Westchester, 3.99% financing for up to 72 months on the following new Audis. You don't see 3.99% financing. It's a fun place to go to, fun people, grab a cup of coffee, grab some snacks, but the financing is really good, 3.99% on these models. The new redesigned A5, the Q5, the SQ5, the Q5 Sportback, the SQ5 Sportback, and the Q6 e-tron rear wheel drive. They're located 1421 Wilmington Pike. It is a great opportunity for you to get a great interest rate on some terrific vehicles. You can do it at Audi Westchester. Check it all out at AudiWestchester.com. And you want to redesign your property or design your property or spruce up your property. Piazza Property Pros, with their 25 years of experience, can do all that. 25 years of experience. They don't subcontract, whether it's building a pool for you. If you're thinking about that, don't procrastinate. Whether it's excavation, hardscaping, fencing, landscaping, or you have a pool and you want to do some pool maintenance. Piazza Property Pros. Remember the name, remember the people. They are really good at what they do. Here's the number: 610 566 2608. You can schedule a free consultation. That's 610 566 2608, or check them out at piazzaoutdoor.com. Things that I want to address, and they will be with the Phillies. And one will be with John Middleton, and another thing I want to address, and some of the other issues going on in Philadelphia sports. But before we do that, I want to take care of our winner of what did he win the last show? I think he won a pair of. He won the hat trick of autographs. The three legendary Flyers: Ron Hextall, Tim Kerr, and Rick Tocchet. Jerry Salamone, or Salamone, either way, I think I pronounced it right. And I hit both spots. Jerry, congratulations. The question was from Mark Lawrence. Who did he think was the most overrated team in the NFL? And he said Pittsburgh. I'll have another question for you to win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. And that question will come up very, very shortly, and you can win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. You submit your entry. It's something that Ray said. I'm going to ask you a question very shortly, and submit your entry to howardeskin.com by midnight Friday. That's November 7th. Watch a show on Saturday on either X, live on X, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Follow any one of them, subscribe on YouTube, and you will be notified on your whatever device you're looking at that the show does come up. So anyway, I will give you that question shortly. All right, let me deal with a couple things with the Phillies. First up, John Middleton caters too much and he listens too much to the players. He in the past has listened to Bryce Harper on what players to bring into the Phillies. You can't listen to the players. You can't listen to the players. And the owner shouldn't get involved other than say yes or no on a contract as far as if it's money. You've hired people to do the job. But from what I have been told, John Middleton met with a few of his players. I'm sure one of them was probably Bryce Harper, to ask him what they think should be done. Mistake. That's a mistake. You don't ask your players what you think should be done. That's why you have a general manager. That's why you have people in the front office. That's why you have your manager. That's why you have baseball people, not the players that have, some of them may have an agenda. Mistake, mistake, mistake. All right, that's number one. Number two, I do not think the Phillies should sign JT Realmuto. You got to find money somewhere if you're going to go out and get some other players. And Marchand's a really good defensive catcher. You're going to have to sign JT for 3 years, and it doesn't make any sense. And you're going to have to give him decent money. All right, that's another thing. They haven't made it. They're going to. I don't know what personnel changes they're going to make, and I agree with Ray that I think their window has passed. They'll make some change. They didn't make any coaching changes, but I think they may change the bench coach. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. Mike Colatry, I don't think he's going to go anywhere, but I think they're going to change the bench coach. Like that's an issue. I mean, everybody follows all these numbers on the computers anyway. All right, that's another thing, and I think that's enough of that. By the way, some really great comments during the show uh, from a lot of people. George, Patty. I had some people notified me they were listening from other places. Charlene from Florida, staying in my lane was listening from Arizona, and there really were a lot of great comments, and it's nice to know that people enjoy the show and tell your friends. There's still people that are not quite sure I'm doing a podcast. Uh, it's easy enough to get podcasts. Podcasts are the new world, by the way, and it shouldn't be a by the way. Um, Tesla's eliminating AM/FM radio from their cars, and I think Audi is going to eliminate AM radio frequency from their cars. Radio is a dying industry. It's kind of sad because that was such a big part of my career, and it helped me with so many things. But it's really, 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 really dying, and it's a shame. But it's over. It's over. People don't listen to radio anymore, and I have people come up to me every week, listening to the sports talk station in town. It's like where I used to work at WIP. It's just I can't listen anymore. I can't listen. It's the same thing all day. It's the same nonsense, the same boring drivel. There's no facts. There's no attempt to get facts. It's uh, it's really kind of sad. So podcasts are really and really the new world. All right, let me address a couple of other things here. And the things I want to address. First of all, congratulations to the Flyers. It's still too early. Give the Flyers some props. Give the Flyers, they have a winning record. They won again on the road on the first game of this current road trip on Tuesday night. They won with a shootout. They blew a lead, but they still came back to win. And I got to give them credit. They have a winning record, and they're going to get a championship before the Sixers. Sixers are just all those the idiots that tell you, oh, the Sixers, oh yeah, they're going in a good direction. Not going in any direction. They're never land with this current team, and they're stuck with uh, a guy that's stealing money, Paul George, totally stealing 3 more years of stealing money. Still hasn't played a game. Won't play 50 this year. He's lucky if he plays 40 this year. It's a joke. All right. He's a joke. They're just, I mean, the star player on that team is Maxi, but I don't think he's not enough to carry anywhere. Will they make the playoffs? Yeah, they should. I mean, there's not enough good teams, and everybody makes the playoffs. So, but the guy that I really think is a total phony and fraud. Was a very talented player at one time. He's not that talented anymore. Is Joel Embiid. I am so sick and tired of his woe is me stuff. And, he was the last game, he was 0 for 5. They lost Tuesday, was it Tuesday night against Chicago? Okay, guys can miss shots. Doesn't rebound that well anymore, obviously, because he's not physically able to. He averages more turnovers than assists. That's not a good thing. And all he cares about is scoring points. You're not going to win with him. And here is one of my biggest complaints about Joel Embiid. He's not going to play in back-to-back games, and we understand that. And that's not my complaint. But he always picks the easier team, and he's the one that says when he's going to play. It's not, he tells the coach and the team what he's going to do. He always picks the easier team. There's been 2 so far this year, still early in the season, where they had back-to-back. One back-to-back, they played Orlando at home and Washington on the road. And they had a day off or a couple of days off before the Orlando game. He decided not to play against the tougher team, which was Orlando. And that was your home crowd, Orlando. He decided not to play there and then played the next night against a horrible team in Washington. Wait a minute. Play against a tougher team. If you're that good, big guy, tough guy, play against a tougher team. He's done it again this week. Back-to-back games against Chicago and Cleveland. Cleveland's obviously the much better team. He decided to play against, and you should play against a tougher team in a back. Just if you're going to pick a game, you have days. It's not because you had a game the day before. It's not to give you an extra day. He decided to play against Chicago rather than play against Cleveland. I mean, he's such a phony, but he got his money. That idiot that's the general manager, Daryl Morey, gives him a long-term contract, $63 million a year. You're kidding me, right? You're kidding me. So now, and that's what you got with him. He just doesn't. I, he just cares about the money. Uh, just cares about the money. It just cares about the money. Um, okay. I see from Scott Segan, I guess it is. Your podcast is great, brings back memories of old WIP. And it is. You know what's amazing? It is old WIP. It's not the same. It's not the same anymore. It's not the same anymore, and it's kind of sad. All right. All right. Here's the question. And I got a question. And Ray said it. Here's the question. The Eagles are a good team. It's not a gimme they're going back to the Super Bowl. I see Pete says trust the process. The process was a phony Ponzi scheme nonsense BS is what it was. It's hopefully he doesn't even come back, Paul George. You mean you're going to pay him 50 some $1 million a year for him not to play? All right, here's the question, and Ray pointed it up. I asked him which team he thinks um, will be the toughest, could be the toughest if they had to play him in the playoffs. Which team might be the best or the toughest team for the Eagles to play in the playoffs? That's the question. Submit your answer to my website, howardeskin.com. We'll have submit it by Friday at midnight on November 7th. We'll announce the winner on the Saturday show where Mark Lawrence will join us to take a look at the weekend football. It's on X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and audio-wise, I believe it's on Apple, Spotify, and Amazon. So one other thing I want to mention, because I want to give him a shout out. Steve Shrippa, Bobby Bacala of The Sopranos, who's been on the show with me. Great guy. He's in Philadelphia on Saturday. They do events, they do discussions with Michael Imperioli, and I forget what his name is. He was Big Pussy on the Sopranos. They do a show together, and it's at Bet Rivers down on Delaware Avenue in Philadelphia, and they're going to be there on Saturday, November 8th. And I wanted to give a shout out. I'm going to try to get there because just to catch up with Steve, but I just wanted to give them a shout out. So you got the question, you got the winner, you had Ray Didinger, you got my insight, John Middleton, who thinks thinks people are going to think him his. Well, I don't want to get it. John worries too much about being nice to the players. His legacy. The Phillies have to win for his legacy. Uh, well, they don't care about the owner. They care about the players and the team. People don't remember the owners. They know who they are, but that's not who. But him meeting with players to discuss what they should do. You can talk to them, but if you take their advice, you're making a mistake. All right. I also want to thank. By the way, the Sixers can't trade Joel Embiid. Who wants Joel Embiid? Really? When people talk about trading Joel Embiid. Thank Joe Gangemi for the technical part of this show, for all the good graphics and all the good things that we do on the website. Tony Anastasia. Thanks to everybody. Again, thanks to Ray Didinger. And thanks to you, for being a part of the Howard Eskin Show as you were riding with the king. Take care, and we'll see you on Saturday.